Hello, my Juki friends. My name is Alba, and today we're going to be making a laptop bag. How adorable is this? It will have a zippered pocket in the front where you not only have an open pocket, but a section where you could zip all of your important electronics in there so nothing escapes you. It has a beautiful strap on it, and today we are going to be working with the TL-18 and our MO2000 serger. So let's get to the sewing. We're going to get started on our laptop bag, and the first portion that we are going to do is the outer pocket. And this is two pieces of fabric, a shorter and a larger one, and the shorter one is the front. If you are mixing and matching fabrics, you want to think about what fabric you want to be the outside of the bag versus the inside lining beforehand. Now, I am going to start with the outer front, and my print fabric will be the outside of my bag. And I'm going to start with the zipper. With the zipper, it's important to put the zipper pull face down, so right side to right side on our fabric. And I like to work with the zipper that's 4 to 5 inches bigger than my fabric, so I don't have to worry about and pay attention to the pull. And I am bringing this, I'm working with the TL-18, and I really like using a narrower foot. So if you are using a zipper foot for this, I am going to be offsetting the zipper, so we are sewing not right up to the zipper teeth. So we are slightly off, and I want to have my zipper off of my fabric and behind my foot. So here is my zipper pull, and it is behind my foot so that it is out of the way of my sewing, and I will be sewing that zipper completely down on the front of the fabric. And the front of my pocket, I do have my batting so that it is cushioned if in case I'm putting cords or any delicate electronics, they will be protected. Now I also have excess zipper onto the side, which is exactly what I wanted, extra off of both ends. Now I will be getting my lining fabric for that front pocket, and I'm going to line it up to that upper edge of the zipper. Now you notice that I flipped this around so that I could see my line of stitching and I know where I want to sew. And you could do this from either side, but I have found that this makes it a little bit easier because I have a line to follow. And for those of you that have phobias of putting in zippers, we're halfway done. We're going to open up the fabric and pull on that zipper so that I have the zipper up and my fabric in the downward position. And I'm just going to bring this over to my iron and press, and I'll be right back. So my fabric has been pressed on the front and the back just to make sure there's no bunching. And I'm going to top stitch at this point because it makes it easier when I have everything not put together. And wasn't that quick and easy? So half of our pocket is already done. And in all actuality, this could be used as a separate bag if you didn't want to add it to the front. You could use it as just a zip bag. Now we're going to complete and add on the back. Now I'm going to mix and match, and this will be the side fabric that will show in the top of my bag. So you want to go right side to right side, front to front. And we're going to repeat the same thing. So I'm just making sure that my sides line up and that I'm even with the top of the zipper, and I'm going to be sewing along the top of that zipper. And again, my foot is right up against the teeth of the zipper. And I'm not sewing right next to the teeth of the zipper. I'm about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of my zipper top. And I'm stopping as I need to make sure my fabric is even. And as you can see, my stitching is right up at the top edge of that zipper. And now I'm going to be matching up my lining to my lining, and I'm actually reversing my fabrics on purpose. And I did this the first time accidentally, and I love the way it looks, so I do it often now on purpose. And I could have done this on the reverse side so that I could see my stitching, but I wanted you to see this both ways. And we're going to open that up, and what you're going to have are two wings. So that larger side on one side and the smaller on the other. And we are going to press and top stitch. Now I'm top stitching my other side, and I'm going to show you what I meant by I'm reversing my fabrics. It'll be really clear momentarily. When we line up the bottom edges, here is the top of my pocket. And here is that opening so that I could put cords, whatever I'd like, into that front pocket. Now, if you were going to use this as a bag, you would do right sides together and just sew all around your three edges, and you have a cute zip project, cute zip bag. I'm going to close up that zipper, and I'm going to put this together. And I'm now going to continue to add this to my bag. Now we're going to return and go on to the body of our bag. Now our fabric pieces were cut 3 inches larger all around that laptop size to allow for the boxing of the bag. And we're now going to move on to quilting our bag. Now I have pre-marked some lines, and what I did are 2-inch lines on the diagonal, and I marked it with just simple chalk. I like using simple chalk because it just brushes away and I don't have to worry about those lines coming back. So now I'm ready to bring this to my machine and quilt it. I like to start in the center just so that it secures my fabric. And I'm also liking to go to a little bit of a longer stitch length. And I'm just following that chalk line, and I'm going to quilt the front and the back of the bag. And I have my front, my lining, and my batting all sandwiched together. Now I finished quilting the front of my bag. You would be doing this on the front and back if you'd like. This is also a great way to use pre-quilted fabric, or if you've been practicing on your long arm with a new design. The chalk, what I like is with a lint brush or with your hand, those marks easily come off and get released from your fabric. We're now going to add the zipper. And just like I did the zipper on that pocket, you want to get a zipper that is several inches longer than your project. And the zipper is going to go right side to right side, meaning that zipper pull needs to be facing the front of your bag. And you want to place your zipper so that you at least have an inch going off, because when you place that on the machine, you can start sewing right at the edge of the fabric without that pull getting in your way. So it makes something difficult nice and easy. And we are going to sew all the way down that top edge, and this is the longer edge for my laptop. Now, if you do own a serger, you may want to add your zipper on with the serger if you like that clean edge and not that raw edge at the top. I'm going to be turning that zipper over, and I am going to top stitch. Now, you may want to get pinking shears and pink that edge, or add a ribbon to clean up that raw edge. I like to add a decorative stitch here if your machine happens to have decorative stitches. Now we will be repeating that same process with the back of the bag. I have my front, my batting, and my back, and I'm going to line those up together. And I will be sewing onto that opposite edge of the zipper, very similar to how we did our pocket, lining up the edges so that they are nice and even. Now it's important to keep right sides and right sides together when you are sewing. And again, if you wanted to do that with the serger, it'll give you a nice clean edge. And I'm going to top stitch this opposite side. Once the zipper is in, I want to make sure and double check if I need to even up my fabrics and square them up. And I'm seeing that I'm a little off, so I'm going to do that. But what you want to be careful of is not cutting off that zipper pull. So I'm going to open my zipper about halfway, and I'm going to tack my zipper in place about 1/4 of an inch in from my edges. And I'm just going back and forth. And the trick to stitching that is pinching and holding the zipper as you sew over it and go backwards a couple of times so that it holds it flat. And you will see that. So now when I cut that edge off, I'm not in jeopardy of losing my zipper and damaging the zipper. So here you could see my edges are just slightly off. So all I'm going to be doing is, with the rotary cutter, just evening up and squaring up my edges. And I'll be right back as soon as I do that. Now that I've squared up my bag, I'm going to place my pocket in place. And the one thing I want to do is make sure that my zipper is open. And you may want to pin or use clips, but I am placing the pocket on my front. And I'm just lining it up with the edges. And as I said, you may want to clip or pin this in place. And I am going to put that back side right over it. So I have my pocket in the middle and I'm lining everything up. And we will be sewing around all 3 edges, capturing all of it. And again, just make sure that that pocket zipper is open, as well as the bag zipper. It's very, very difficult to get that open. You'd be picking out with these seam rippers, so make sure those are open. And let's go to the machine to sew our edges. Now with that zipper at the top, as you can see, I'm almost pointing it up away from the bag and I'm sewing through. We're going to be boxing that corner, so it's only to hold the zipper in place temporarily. And we do not need to back tack on any of this because we will be boxing the corners. Now I'm at the point where I'm over my zipper for my pocket, so I want to back tack. And I'm going to go around the other side. I like to do sides first and then my bottoms. It just makes sure that everything is laying in place, and I'm just evening up my edges, making sure that I capture all of my sides. And again, I'm pinching my zipper as I get to it. So as I am approaching that zipper, and I purposely left it peeking out just a little bit so you could see what I'm doing, I am pinching that zipper together so that as I sew over it, that zipper is going to be sewn shut, where it doesn't look like it's partially open at the end. And as I get to the end, my zipper teeth are together and in an upward position. And I've sewn all my layers together. Now I've sewn both of my side seams and the bottom, and I'm going to go to my serger to finish off and just complete the inside of the bag so it isn't raw edges. If you don't happen to have a serger, I would bind all the way around those 3 edges. Now before we go to the serger, I am going to cut off those extra zipper pieces. I just don't want my serger knife to get in the way of those. And let's finish off those side seams. And I want to cut off as little as possible. I'm just evening up the edges and going all the way around. slow speed because this is quite thick. Now, any tails that I have from my serger, I will be getting a sewing needle and slipping them on the inside of the stitching and touching that with a little bit of fray check or fabric glue to keep that all in place. I have my sides all finished and cleaned up, and what I want to do next is my boxed bottoms and tops. And I am going to be marking a 1-inch box. And when you're marking this box, you want to line up from your stitching line and going 1 inch in on both sides. So my lines on my ruler are right along my stitching line. That is really important so that your corners come out even. So my lines are right against my stitching line, and I'm marking that corner that I'm going to cut. And the same thing with that upper portion. So I'm going to the line where that zipper is sewn and my stitching line and marking that corner. Once those corners are all four are marked, we're going to be cutting out that box. This is probably the scariest part. And this is thick because there's quite a few layers of batting and fabric. So make sure you have a nice strong pair of scissors. And by cutting that 1-inch box, when we sew the layers together, that will give us a 2-inch opening, a 2-inch box at the bottom and at the top of the bag, making it boxy both on the top and the bottom. Now, our zipper is open partially on the top, and we want to open that up and really get our hands in there. What we want to pay attention to is where our pocket is. And I want to reach in and make sure that my pocket fabric stays where it needs to, so that my pocket edges are staying to the front of the fabric and that I'm sewing over all of those layers. Now we're going to have a really thick edge, so you do want to make sure that you use the appropriate needle. I would suggest a size 14 or 16 needle and just go slowly over that bulk. And let's bring that over to our machine. Now I normally like to do my seams in opposite directions, but because of the bulk, I have all of my seams going to the side of the fabric where there is not a lot of bulk. And we definitely want to back tack and I'm just squeezing and pressing and making sure that my fabric is laying nice and flat. And I'm going to back tack several times on this. And I will be doing that same step on all four corners. Now when you get to the zipper portion, just make sure that your zipper is laying nice and flat. And this is where we will be adding our straps. So before you do those upper corners, make sure to prepare your strap. And this is a 4-inch piece of fabric with 2 inches of batting, and I folded my fabric in on that. And I love the batting on the strap because it gives a nice cushioned feel. And let me just stitch up that strap. And I'm going to add 2 layers of sewing just for the decorative look of that. I'm just cutting off my selvage edge, and I'm placing my strap on the inside of my bag, where I'll be placing that right in my box. So I'm lining that up with the center of my zipper. So my strap is going over the center of my zipper, and my seam is lining up with the center of my zipper. And when I stitch across that, I will be locking my strap in place. And as I'm going over my zipper, I'm back tacking. And I'm also back tacking several times on the edge. And I'm actually on this portion even going to sew straight through an additional time, just to really secure that strap. When I put the strap on this opposite side, I want to make sure that my strap is staying even and not twisted. I'm going to line up the strap with the center, and here my zipper is open, and I just want to make sure that my zipper teeth match up. Now with that open zipper, I'm actually going to sew that center section first, secure my strap and my zipper, and I'm going to back tack, and then sew all the way across. What that does is that difficult section that's hard to sew has been secured. Now again, with your serger, I would just clean those up the way we did the side seams. It just looks so much more professional when that's nicely cleaned off. This could easily be bound as well, but I'm going to turn the bag inside out, and you just want to pay attention to the corners, poking them out. And here we have a boxy bag at the top and at the bottom with a nice, beautiful, large pocket for all of our accessories. Let me grab my computer and the true test if it fits the bag. So I have my computer and the bag, and as you can see, that fits so comfortably in that top zipper, and I have plenty of rooms for a notebook, my folders, any of my other accessories. And look at how beautiful that is. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'd love to see pictures of your bag and what you could come up with. I'd love to see the different fabrics and how you stylize it. Come back and join us soon. Bye-bye.